Hi, and welcome to the Believe pillar of Utterly Happy. Believe has three main words that makes it a very solid pillar in an utterly happy life. These three words are from one root word. This root word seems to be very mystical to a lot of people. This word is spirit. And these three words are spirit, spiritual, and spirituality. Let's start with spirit, of course. Spirit is invisible and alive. Just have that at the back of your mind. Once you have that clear understanding that spirit is invisible, you cannot see it, and it is living. That's enough to start with, because science has even proven that everything, when you boil it down to its smallest form of existence, is energy. And energy, they say, is invisible and it appears to be alive. That's all science can tell us. But this is not new information if we pay attention to what the spiritual texts have been saying ages and ages ago. Imagine that there is a very huge rock. You cut a big chunk of this rock, you bring it to town. Then you halve it in two. Then you divide that again. And you divide that again. In the end, you break it down and you have a very small piece in your hand. What would you call that? You still call it a piece of rock. If you divided that again, you still call it a piece of rock. It's no matter how small you cut it, it's still a rock. All of us were from this huge spiritual rock, so to say, and we're broken down into you, into me, into your cousins, into everyone that you know and don't know. We're all from this huge spiritual rock, so we're connected. This is one, but in the final analysis, you and me, are essentially invisible. We're spirit. That's part of us which cannot be seen. That's one. Two, spiritual. Anything that cannot be seen or felt, or in other words, accessed through the five physical senses, is spiritual. And of course, you know that for anything to work consistently, it needs laws to guide it. So there are spiritual laws that is guiding the interactions between spirit and spirit, between people and places and things, and so on and so forth. So there are spiritual laws that are guiding us on how to live successfully on this planet of ours. Now there are two places we can go, science or theology, for example. Science has lots of laws that we have been able to prove that if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, that will happen. If you don't do this, this is what will happen. If you drop something, it falls down and it hits the ground. This is law, as we know, a law of physics called gravity. There is a spiritual law, for example, called that is tied to giving and receiving. This is an example. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall people give to you. This is a spiritual law. Scientifically, you really cannot prove that when I give something, I will get more. You can't prove that in any text. In mathematics, if you have one car, you give one car away, you have 0 cars. And the other person has 1 car. These laws, this is how they work. Right? Wrong. Now, I'll explain something to you. The third one is spirituality. Spirituality is putting spiritual laws to work for the benefit of humanity and yourself. This is spirituality. The spiritual law, for example, that talks about giving and receiving, I'll give a very practical example here so that we can see that spirit and spiritual and spirituality is not just an abstract idea, but that it's something that actually works. I remember when I was in the university, I had a car at the time, and I felt in my heart that spirit was telling me to give my car to a charity organization, which I did. This was in the year 2000. In fact, it was the 1st of May 2000. I gave this car, and in 2005, life moved on. In 2005, I was living in the UK at the time, and somebody says to me, "Hey, meet me tomorrow. I want to take you somewhere." We met, and he took me to a car shop. He says, "Which one of these cars do you like?" I say, "Hey, I'm not ready to buy a car." I said, "Never mind, just choose one." I chose a Honda Civic 2004 model because I had chosen a smaller one. He said, "Don't worry about it. Choose a car that is befitting for you," and so on. He pays for the car in full, pays for the insurance, pays for everything you can think of on the car, and tells me to come and go on home. I couldn't understand, but this is the spiritual law that says, "Give, and it shall be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will people give unto you." When I gave the car away, physically, I had zero car, okay? But spiritually, I had made a huge deposit, and it was there growing. Like when you plant one kernel of corn, not one comes back to you. You get literally thousands of kernels. In essence, spirit, spiritual, and spirituality are not abstract ideas. If you pay attention to these three words and you dig into them, use them for the benefit of others and for the benefit of yourself, you are well on your way to a life of utter happiness. I will see you soon, but until then, endure happiness, but enjoy utter happiness. Bye for now. Cheers.